Today, I want to get into a topic which I don't normally discuss, and that is the two sides of the equation. Is this the global economic collapse, or should I take all of my savings and put them into the stock market? You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today we'll get into this. I've taken down some notes that I want to make. We'll cover this as quickly and concisely as possible, so stay with me here, beginning with the facts. Number one, we have quantitative easing that has been going on for several years now, and it has become an unprecedented experiment, okay? So we know that despite the fact that the Federal Reserve printed trillions and trillions of dollars, they pushed those out into the system of all the worst garbage, they bailed out banks and institutions all around the world. They've supposedly stopped that, but you still have the Bank of Japan, you still have the ECB and other banks around the world still monetizing debt, still purchasing the garbage from corporations. This is being done to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars every single month. So we know that's happening, that's a fact. You also have interest rates. Interest rates are historically very, very low. Even with the Bank of Canada raising them recently, you had the obviously the Fed raising them, it's still historically extremely low. These are easy monetary policies. And then we look at the stock buybacks. This has been at a near record high or all-time record high, depending where you look, and you'll see that this is a fact. That pushes the stock prices up. It's undeniable. So they're able to basically engage in a way to have this stock market continue to rise and rise. Financial figures that we are seeing out there are fraudulent. It is a fact that we can see the GDP numbers that are fake. We can see all of the other inflation, unemployment, every type of number that they're giving us is essentially either manipulated or completely fraudulent. All right, now what's the deal here? Should we get on the bandwagon? Should we proceed to just say, fine, everything's fake, but why not ride the wave? Why not? You make a good argument, and in some ways I was almost willing to concede with people to just maybe not even touch the topic at all, or just approach it a different way. Because so many people now, even people who subscribe, perhaps people who are watching, are into that, are simply saying, look, I lost so much money doing what I was doing before, I lost out on the opportunity from 2009, let's say, to 2012 or 13 or on, and I'm just riding the wave. I'm going to do this. And they have seemed to have had their assets appreciate. That's something that you could do if you decide to do so. But I've decided now to simply double down on my efforts here and on my thoughts, and that I will not be giving into that. I'm going to stand on my principles and understand that this is the global economic collapse, not because of what's happening with the stock market, but simply what's happening in the world. I've traveled to many cities around the world, and I see the exact same thing. You have a shrinking middle class, you have poverty which is increasing, you have turmoil that occurs, either it's going on civil, or you have sort of an external threat, whether when you look in Europe, for example. That right there is not a good sign for the economy. It's a fact. Okay, look at this. If we're going to just use appreciation as an example for what has happened, look at cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies have risen dramatically, much, much faster than what we have seen with the stocks, different stocks. Okay, so if it's going simply by the appreciation levels, then you would probably want to look at cryptos, because they have increased dramatically since the beginning of 2017. Even when the prices have come down high, very high from their peaks, it seems like they have done a much, much better job than other currencies. They've done a much better job than all of the different asset classes. So just based on appreciation, if everyone wants that, why not? Why not drop all your money, your hard-earned savings into cryptos? But you think it's a scam? Maybe you do. All right, then you look at this. What about the market euphoria that we've experienced? That's the way I see it. I see that people have ultimately put everything that they have into this right now, whether it's cryptos, whether it is the stock market in general. And that's the issue that I'm seeing with a lot of people. They have engaged in what I call the stage 3 market or bull market. Stage 3 is where everybody forgets about the fundamentals, forgets about reality, and they simply dump everything they have into it. That's worrisome. Like I said, if this was all about appreciation, then cryptos have the highest potential. If you're worried about then the moral issue of certain stocks, do you want to invest in Monsanto if you knew that it was going to rise? Most people would say, yes, that's fine, I don't care. Me personally, I don't agree with that. When you look at the S&P 500, Dow Jones, whatever, you look at all these stocks, none of these big corporations here have any sort of mom and pop shop feel to them. You're not investing with them. It's not as if you gave $50,000 to the bakery near your house and you were supporting him and then you were getting that funding back in some sort of way. That's not what this is. This is big corporations who use their criminality, use their power and their political power behind it to influence you and I, to inject mainstream media propaganda, financial media propaganda, and everything else. This isn't the way this goes on. It's you and I are basically being suckered in by them. That's the way it all works. So I don't agree with investing in these stocks right now anyway. I'm not necessarily suggesting that there won't be a good time to make money. Maybe now's the time, but me personally, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it right now. Maybe in the future I will. I wrote about it in my first book, how to look at stocks, how to break them down, all the basics, the PE ratios, everything else. That's all in the book. It's all described. But at the same time, I use caution to say, you got to watch what you're doing. You can't just invest in the stock market and hope that everything is going to appreciate. And that leads me to my last point. What will you do if the stock market reaches its peak and then maybe it starts to come down a little bit? Maybe you don't know. How will you be able to predict that top? Are you able to? That's the question I have. Who is ever able to predict the top of the stock market? And the fact is that nobody is. You have all these computer algorithms that are running out there. You have all of these different systems that they have on their own end, not on your end. You might be able to guess something here or there, and that's fine. You have done a great job if that's the answer to that. However, I don't think anybody knows where it all will head in a short period of time, mid-period. We can say that, look, long term, if I look 20 years from now, the stock market, the Dow Jones, it might be at 100,000. I don't know that, but that is a possibility. That is maybe even likely. But along the way, what will happen? You don't know. All those little things that happen along the way, they're all unknown. So we're drawing inferences based on the information that we see. Look, okay, the stock market in 1920 was this price. The stock market today is this price, so I might as well invest. But look at what you're really investing into. What are the risks you are taking? And are you prepared to lose every penny? If the answer is yes, you can get into that. If you're looking for appreciation specifically, then cryptocurrencies should be where you're looking at. You're not worried about risk. You don't have to be worried about the morality situation. You don't have to worry about any of that. If you're just going for appreciation, then do that. It's all fiat. It's all fake anyway. It's all, up in your head. When you look at what is really intrinsic, what has value to you, is it really a stock? Does that have value? Are you really invested in the corporation, or are you really just sort of playing the game? Anyway, these are just my opinions. I'll leave that up to you. You need to have your own decision made when you get into these investments. You need to know that that's your money, that's your savings, it's all on you. But when you give that money to somebody else through these different stock companies or wherever you're trading, the money's not yours anymore. You own a share, and the share is technically, I would see it as being basically in some ways fiat. There's nothing really there. You're not really owning anything. You're basically putting your money with them. Then you want your money back. But what if the stock market has declined significantly by then? Will you want your money back, or do you want to let it ride? Anyway, this is me just ranting. I hope that you found it interesting. Just a couple points that I wanted to make. People will make money off of anything. There's lots of ways to make money in this day and age. People will invest their money wisely. Perhaps they will be able to make a fortune. And that has been seen especially recently with cryptocurrencies. However, will you be able to predict the top or near the top? Are you willing to pull your money out? If you've made 500%, are you willing to pull it out if it comes down by 300% of that profit gets knocked off? I don't know. I don't know what people will do. I don't know what you will do, but I want to hear it. This is not a video for me to tell you what to do. This is just me sharing my opinion about this. I'm just doing what I think is right for myself, for my family. I have done my own books to document exactly how I like to break it all down, and it has nothing to do with the stock market. I believe in the money GPS strategy, which is reducing your expenses and becoming self-sufficient with things like solar panels. And that's the way I proceed. That's the way I can deal with it, that I can sleep at night, that I can be able to handle everything. So that's all for this video. Enough ranting. If you found it informative, please give it a thumbs up. And that's all for this video. And thumbs up for the watermelons. Take care.